What's up, Steelers Nation? Welcome back to the channel where we keep it real, raw, and 100% black and gold. The Pittsburgh Steelers are making moves, staying sharp, and doing everything they can to get better this offseason, not just to compete, but to win. You can feel the energy building, and today's update proves that the Steelers are thinking bold, strategic, and long-term. Before we dive into the heat of the story, do me a quick favor, smash that like button to support the grind, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. This off-season is about to get wild, and you're going to want to be here for every second of it. All right, let's talk about George Pickkins, the trade buzz that's shaking Steelers Nation, and what it means for the future of this team. And, oh yeah, we've also got to talk quarterbacks, because Mason Rudolph versus the draft class is stirring up some serious debate, too. Steelers fans, this is not a drill. George Pickkins is officially drawing trade interest from around the NFL, and the Steelers are taking calls? That's right. According to NFL insider Jordan Schultz, multiple teams have reached out to Pittsburgh about a potential trade involving Pickkins. Now let's clear this up right away. The Steelers are not actively shopping him, but they are listening, and in the NFL, that means something. Pickkins is entering the final year of his rookie contract, and after the team traded Deontay Johnson earlier this offseason, it really felt like they were setting the table for Pickkins to become. But now, that future feels uncertain. So what's going on? Here's what makes this situation even more spicy. The 2025 NFL Draft is just around the corner. And let's not forget, the Steelers do not have a second-round pick this year after making that blockbuster deal for DK Metcalf. If they want back in, well, Pickkins is easily their most valuable trade chip. You don't need a front office source to connect the dots here. Teams are interested. The Steelers are listening. The draft is days away. And Pickkins, despite being one of the most electrifying receivers the team has had in years, is in the middle of it all. Could a draft day trade be in the works? It's possible. But here's the twist. Trading him now would raise serious questions. Why trade for DK Metcalf if you're going to turn around and move on from your best young receiver? That's the dilemma the front office is facing. And let me tell you, this isn't just a football decision. This is a culture decision. George Pickkins is a walking highlight reel. We've seen the circus catches, the toe drags, the sideline, snags. He's got elite ball skills, crazy body control, and that it factor you just can't teach. But he's also polarizing. Some fans love his passion. Others question his attitude. Coaches around the league have noticed. He plays with fire. But sometimes it burns the wrong direction. There have been whispers about maturity, about buy-in, about frustration with the offensive system. And to be honest, a lot of that frustration has been valid. The Steelers' offense has done him no favors over the past 2 seasons. Limited targets, bad quarterback play, predictable schemes, and yet he's produced. Over 1,000 yards last season, and that was with a rotating door at quarterback. So here's the question. Do you trade away a potential all-pro talent just because the fit hasn't been perfect? Or do you fix the system around him? Let's take a look at the bigger picture. If the Steelers do trade Pickkins, it's not just about acquiring a second-round pick. It's about reshaping the wide receiver room for the long haul. Metcalf is your power speed alpha. Calvin Austin gives you gadget ability. Maybe the Steelers take another receiver in the draft, someone like Ladd McConkey, Keon Coleman, or Troy Franklin in that day 2 range. You could build a room around DK and a rookie while gaining draft capital to address other positions. But again, why weaken your receiver group just weeks after strengthening it? If the Steelers trade Pickkins, fans will want answers, and fast. Now, while all this is going on with Pickkins, the quarterback room remains a mystery, and we've got another curveball to break down. NFL insider Jeremy Fowler recently asked an NFL offensive coordinator a very interesting question. Where would Mason Rudolph rank among the 2025 QB draft prospects if he were entering this class? The answer? Third. Let that sink in. One coordinator ranked Rudolph third among all the QBs in this class, behind only Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. Ahead of guys like Jalen Milroe, ahead of Jackson Dart, ahead of most of the names being tossed around in mock drafts. That tells you everything you need to know about this quarterback class and just how shaky the options are. So where does that leave us? The Steelers have met with a ton of QB prospects, from Shedeur to Dart to Milroe, all the way down to later round guys like Will Howard and Kyle McCord. The scouting is being done, the homework is finished, but do they take one at 21 or wait? If they stay at 21 and go defense, like many expect, then without a second-round pick, they may miss out on all the QBs they've evaluated unless they make a move. That's where a Pickkins trade becomes relevant again. It could help them move up for a quarterback. But here's the catch. None of these QBs are sure things. And with the Aaron Rodgers situation still up in the air, the Steelers are stuck between trying to win now and planning for the future. And right now, Mason Rudolph might be the safest option for Week 1. Let's not forget, Rodgers has not committed to the Steelers. His appearance on the Pat McAfee show made it sound like Pittsburgh isn't at the top of his list, and if that's the case, you have to move like he's not coming. That's why Rudolph was brought back early in free agency. His 2023 performance, especially late in the season, showed that he can handle the pressure. It's not flashy. It's not exciting, but it might be the best option right now. And unless the Steelers land a miracle in this draft, don't be surprised if Mason Rudolph is under center Week 1. According to a new report from The Athletic's Diana Rossini, the Steelers haven't heard a single word from Aaron Rodgers since his appearance on the Pat McAfee show back on April 17th. That's now weeks ago, and folks inside the organization are starting to wonder, is Rodgers ghosting Pittsburgh? Here's the direct quote from Rossini. Sources tell me Pittsburgh has not received further updates from the four-time MVP following his Pat McAfee show appearance last Thursday, in which he said he was open to anything and attached to nothing, while he continued to focus on off-field matters. So let's break that down. Rodgers didn't shut the door on the Steelers, but he didn't open it either. He's not saying no, he's not saying yes, and the clock is ticking. Now here's what's interesting. The Steelers haven't given Rodgers any hard deadline. They're letting this thing ride. But there's no way the team expected to still be in limbo this deep into the offseason, especially with the NFL draft days away. Let's remember, this flirtation didn't just start yesterday. Pittsburgh's interest in Rodgers dates back to the start of the legal tampering period on March 10th. We're now in mid-April, pushing into draft week, and the team still doesn't know if their 2025 QB is Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph, or some rookie they might draft. No pressure, right? So what's going on in Rodgers' head? Well, based on his comments on McAfee, he's been up front with Pittsburgh, at least early on. He told the Steelers, "If you need to move on, call me, by all means." There's been no deadline. He even said he's had multiple conversations with Mike Tomlin and that all of the necessary conversations have already been had. So in Rodgers' mind, the ball's in his court, and he's going to shoot it whenever he's good and ready. But here's the twist. Outside of Pittsburgh, no other teams are actively pursuing Rodgers. There's no bidding war, no sneaky mystery. Team, it's Steelers or retirement, plain and simple. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Could Rodgers really retire? It would definitely be surprising, but not impossible. He's 41 years old. He's had injury issues. He's heavily involved in off-field ventures, and has shown zero urgency in locking down his NFL future. During his McAfee appearance, Rodgers made it very clear that personal life has taken precedent, and he's not feeling obligated to rush any decision for anyone. Steelers fans hoping for a blockbuster QB signing might be starting to sweat. But let's be honest, this is exactly the type of thing Rodgers does. Remember how long he kept the Jets waiting last offseason? The man operates on his own time, his own rhythm, and the NFL world just has to keep up. Here's the real question. What do the Steelers do now? Do they keep waiting? Do they pivot? Do they draft a QB? According to Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin, the team's pursuit of Rodgers is independent of what they do in the draft. So even if they take a quarterback with the 21st overall pick, it won't stop them from still pursuing Rodgers. But let's be honest, picking a quarterback this year doesn't guarantee anything. This draft class isn't exactly loaded with surefire franchise guys. The Steelers have looked at names like Shedder Sanders, Jackson Dart, and Jalen Milroe, but none of them are considered top 10 talents. Some scouts say this class is so weak that Mason Rudolph would rank third among these prospects, and he's already on the roster. So what's the most likely scenario right now? Barring a sudden Rodgers decision, it looks like Mason Rudolph could be the Week 1 starter. Again. That's not necessarily a disaster, especially given how he finished 2023, but it's definitely not the splash Steelers fans were hoping for. Here's the crazy part. Rodgers could change everything with one phone call. He's already talked to Tomlin. He knows the system. The Steelers have a revamped offense, a strong defense, and just added a star receiver in DK Metcalf. Pittsburgh is building something serious, and Rodgers knows it. But until he decides to show up or speak up, everything is in limbo. The Steelers aren't panicking yet. They're staying patient, doing their due diligence, and leaving the door wide open. But time's ticking. The draft is coming. The season will follow. Eventually, they'll need answers. So let's break this all down. Steelers Nation. Should the Steelers seriously consider trading George Pickkins if it gets them back into the second round? Is it smart to roll with Mason Rudolph instead of reaching for a quarterback in a weak draft? Or should they package assets, maybe even Pickkins, and go all in on a new QB? We want to hear from you. Sound off in the comments below. How do you feel about Pickkins' future? Would you move him? Would you ride it out? What's your gut telling you about this quarterback situation? And if you enjoyed this deep dive, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a second of Steelers action. We've got draft week coverage, trade reactions, and more insider updates on the way. Thanks for watching. And, as always, here we go, Steelers, here we go!